Welcome to Sakshi TV special immigration show, Green Card with Gehi with attorney Naresh Gehi. Please note the Sakshi TV now has 3 immigration shows every week. On Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. EST with attorney Ms. Prashanthi Reddy in English. On Thursday at 5:30 p.m. EST with attorney Chand Parvatneni. And on Friday at 6 p.m. EST with attorney Bhanu Virendra. Please tune in to ask your questions. If you're an immigration attorney and would like to join our special shows, please email us at usa@sakshi.com or call 866-725-7441. Before we begin the show, please note that the information provided on this show is not a legal advice and is for general informational purposes only. Sakshi TV or its agents will not be responsible for use of specific legal advice. And if you need advice, please contact the attorney directly. Naresh Gehi is someone who needs no introduction. He's a federal trial attorney and a lawyer up against the Trump model management. He's been an esteemed speaker at ELA and handles complex court cases and has 80 members working with him. He has 3 offices in New York City and 1 in Mumbai. And the Mumbai office details, email ID is info@gehilawindia.com. And the phone numbers are 8976772900 and 8976772901. The address and the domain are already appearing on the screen for the New York City office, but if you need a number as well, it's 718-263-5999. We will continue the knowledge session along with news and updates on latest immigration, followed by Q&A. Before we get into the topic, you can call us on the numbers displayed on the screen for questions related to immigration and also ask for tips. Hi, Mr. Gehi, how are you doing?
Although it's fantastic being with you on the show too, Rani. And always been a pleasure kind of being with you right from last week's show. So today we're going to talk about some very important issues, particularly that affect India, especially because I believe you have a lot of people, who are from India and they love you as a host and they love this TV channel a lot. So I decided to focus on the L1A visa category, the L1B visa category, and how can computer companies, especially IT companies, how can they start their offices in the United States of America? So critically, what happens to Rani is that, take an example about a company that's located in Hyderabad. Take an example about a company that's located in Bangalore, or if they're in any other part of India. Now, they want to start a branch office. The first thing they need to do is they can make sure that they get in touch with us and we can assist them in coming to the United States. An IT company that has 40 people, they're doing this fantastic back-end work with Java, with MySQL, with Spring, with Hibernate. They want to start a branch offices over here. That is possible. And we've been helping a lot of companies to set up their operations in America. A seafood company, an export company, it's fantastic. But what I tell people is that it's good for you to make sure that your company has been established for a while. And if your company is big, we'd be happy to help you to grow further. For example, if your company has 30 people, 40 people, fantastic opportunity to start a branch office in the United States of America. So at the end of the day, what is important is that you should take the initiative to establish a branch office in the United States. So there are 2 types of visas out here. One is an L1A, that's commonly referred to as an intra-company transfer, or the manager can come to the United States, a senior manager can come in to establish a branch office. How does that work? Real simple. I'm working for a particular IT company, call it as ABC IT company in India right now. And my boss is telling me, hey, listen, it's time for us to basically establish an office in the United States because we've been doing a lot of back-end work for companies. We've been doing front-end work. We've been doing digital marketing, just an example. What do? They can get in touch with us or by emailing us at going to our website at gehilaw.com, gehilaw.com. But we only entertain serious inquiries. The clients are like companies from all over the world. And then once we start the communication, then we can also help those people to try to come in on a B2 visa if necessary. Then after they come in here, we help them to establish the entire company by means of our law firm or with the co-counsels who are actually local lawyers who deal with the property aspects also. We provide an A to Z solution, not only an immigration solution. So take an example like when people come to us, right? They tell us, Mr. Gehi, I'm looking for a lawyer in New York City who can help me establish my entire kind of branch office in the US. Excellent. Well, good and dandy. What do we do for you? We can even review your leases, which not many law firms do. We basically negotiate the lease if required. After that, we work with the accountant to make sure they have the right documents. We go to work with the accountant in the United States as well as with the accountant abroad. Then other than that, you go to form the corporation. After that, you need to review the financials. You need to review the qualifications of the person who needs to be sponsored, whether he wants to come in over here with his spouse or with his children. Then after that, we take it further. Now, the good news about the L1A visa is that your spouse can also come to America and she can also work in America. Your children under 21 can come to America and they can go to college. And there's another big benefit about the L1A visa category. After 1 year, you are eligible to apply for a green card if your company does pretty well. So that's the basic to running. Do you have any questions for me on this?
Right. Mr. Gehi, is there any specific kind of, partnership or sole proprietorship that might ensure easier setup of these companies or probably a green card, or is it anywhere related to kind of getting a fast track way of setting up a branch?
Yeah, so on an average to set up everything, it's taking, because of the consular delays and everything, you're looking at approximately 6 months to do the entire process. And in the meanwhile, we review documents, we check everything up. And once we do everything, then you can do phenomenally well in these cases. And L1A is meant for big companies. Big companies means the mid-sized companies of 30 or 40 people working. And it's a perfect thing for them to do that.
Right. So it does not really ensure that any particular ownership.
The size of the company doesn't matter. You're right about it. But I prefer companies that have been established for a while because being someone who likes to be a perfectionist, we have a big team of people. We have very good people working in our firm who specialize in this particular area to make sure that that we do well for our clients. And the people who are coming to us from India happen to be IT companies, seafood companies. Then you're looking at import-export companies and people who are entrepreneurs, like diamond merchants, like big jewelers, and all these big fashion people who have these boutiques out there in India. And they want to come in and start, we can help them completely in setting up their companies out here.
Right. So also, how much time is it going to take for a company from, let's say, India to set up a branch in the US? I mean, from the first time, from the initiation period to the implementation, how long might it take? And what are the factors that it really depends on?
It's around 4 to 6 months. It's taking around 6 months approximately for us to get to the bottom of things. That's something that's what we do for sure. And around in 6 months, we've been pretty much successful in getting everything in order. Sometimes it may take longer depending on the situation. But because also you have to understand, we look at everything under a microscope when we file cases. We can do it earlier. If the person is here, we can get it done in 3 to 4 months. But if you are looking at the long term, also in our firm, what we do from day one, when we start the L1 process, the good thing is we also plan the green card. The good thing about the L1A visa and the L1A in particular is that it follows the dual intent doctrine. What is the dual intent doctrine? You can go and stand in front of the immigration officer and let him know that I am going to immigrate to the United States of America, and there will not be a bar under Section 214B of the Immigration and Nationality Act. So this is the difference. Having a knowledgeable lawyer always pays in the game. And our clients are top corporates. And we help people who really kind of are serious and they are big players and they want to become bigger. And if you're a mom and pop shop who have 3 or 4 people, please do not contact us unless and until you have a very, very big, huge gross turnover in the millions will consider you. Others, we do not want you to waste your money. So we believe in kind of fairness. We want to make sure that we do a good job for people as much as possible and to the best of our abilities. Of course, we specialize in very complicated cases. Like last week, one of our attorneys was in Washington, D.C. in the federal court fighting a diversity visa case. So we are federal lawyers and we try to kind of do our best in every case. So, for example, recently we got a call from someone who said they're from the south of India. They said that her spouse is stuck in India for a very long time. And she's in New York. We said, of course, we can take up your case and file for a mandamus action under 28 USC 1331 of the Act and try to expedite the case because there has been an unreasonable delay in the case. So this is what we do. Something that's complete setups, making sure that exactly that the company is ready, steady, and and on the go mark, and get set and go. So we get you to the go point out over here.
So we're talking about how you can help Indian companies or any company set up branches in the US. So is there any particular like how we have premium processing? Is there any way that we can probably set up everything faster or get through the long times of processing any faster? Because post COVID, the timelines are only delayed now, and everything's retrogressed.
Even if you're looking at any kind of premium processing, even in the H-1B category or something, immigration, if you choose an RFE, and generally they do that because, you have to understand there's paucity of staffing in immigration, and you're going to get a standard RFE because I want to be conservative. I'm a straight shooter. It is going to take 4 to 5 months. That's an average time. Because I don't like to beat around the bush. Earliest it may take, you get a direct approval. But generally, even if you give them everything, they'll always ask you questions because they want to buy time. They have these standardized RFEs they send all the time. So be safe rather than sorry. And for me, being more like a sniper rather than a regular shooter, always like to make sure that I give straight answers, when I talk. I'm looking at like among those scenarios, which we call it as a reasonable time frame. I don't want to tell you something that's too early or too late in the game. So because sometimes companies may be missing documents, they may need documents, and the accountant may take time. You have to consider everything. You got to consider the totality of circumstances when you talk on legal. Now, another thing is about the L1B visa category. L1B is meant for people who have specialized knowledge. Now, take an example, a company in India has a branch office in the United States already. All right. They have this great branch. And now they want this person who's absolutely brilliant in a particular technology. Okay. This person is very good in Python, for example. And this guy can build amazing things in Python. But they have this great graphic designer who does an outstanding job out there. And you have this amazing video editor who's brilliant in editing videos to a certain point. So those people can come in as L1Bs, people with specialized knowledge. And L1B is a fantastic category for people who have specialized knowledge. And that's great. And under the L1 category, as I said, after 1 or 2 years, people start applying for the green cards. And we've had clients who've gotten the green cards after coming in on an L1 to this country. So I think there are many, many good pluses of both L1A and the L1B visa in this country, yes.
Right. Are there any, what kind of RFEs are we looking at right now regarding this?
No, first thing is that you're looking at whether the person actually qualifies as a manager. That's one of the biggest RFEs, to see whether this person has the education, the qualification, the job description, and how many people has he supervised over the years. That's the most critical RFE you can get. Secondly, there are case laws on the point that even if you do not have enough employees, it's not the number of employees that a person supervises under the L1A occupation. There is case law to that effect. So it's exactly the totality of circumstances that control in the managerial occupation, which is exactly the key factor which should be considered. But sometimes immigration officers blatantly abuse the law and they'll say, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for the L1A visa. Therefore, it's critically important to work with lawyers who know what they're doing, to work with people who've done this for a while, to make sure that exactly, you shoot with, You fire with all your guns. Those things are typically important when you're dealing with L1A visas in particular. Now, let's talk about something, Turani, wherein you're dealing with an Indian company over here. How can they begin the process? Now, an ABC Consulting is a company in Hyderabad, India, and Bangalore. Now, how can they begin the process? They need to look at the bench strength of the company in India to see how well they have done, which means they have these 30, 40 wonderful employees, and they've gotten a lot of projects in India, and they have a few projects in America. Now, that helps a lot if they're doing American projects. Now they decide, how about this? I want to set up my office in Manhattan. Fantastic idea. You're dealing with the heart of the world. In Manhattan, to have an office on Wall Street, on 42nd Street, 34th Street, Penn Station, that's big branding by itself. And this manager also wants to get his green card. And he's working for this big company in India. Excellent thought. Start with the L1A, because the law of L1A says that you should have worked in that foreign company for more than 1 year, which means one of the requirements is, I tell people these are important things. You should have worked in this foreign company for more than a year. I would say like people have worked for 10 years, 12 years, they're presidents, vice presidents, directors. It's excellent for them to come to America. Start your branch office. Come with your spouse. Come with your children over here. Excellent opportunity. But what does America need? America wants you to grow your business. They're looking at entrepreneurs. Now, when do people fail? This is critically important. People fail when they come in on an L1 visa. They're not able to do the business. They're not able to grow the company. Of course, then after that, the government is not going to grant you an extension. So if you have a game plan, and if you already have clients in America, consider the L1A. It's a fantastic visa. Start your branch office in the US by using the L1A category. And the good thing is that you do not have to go through the investor's visa. If you own this big company, why the hell are you spending this, kind of the sumptuous amount out there in going for the, investor's visa? You have this big company, for example, right? You own 100 cars over there. Start a car dealership in America. It's not restricted to ID companies. It can be in any domain. That's the beauty of the L1 category.
Right.
How do you like this?
It's very flattering, of course. But Mr. Gehi, is there anything perhaps an employer or an employee or anybody from the office that can do to fasten up the process? Or let me put it this way, if I had to paraphrase it again, what are the kind of hurdles that a person should look out for when they want their office or their branch to be set up in the US? What are the most common ones, or what are the most complicated ones you've dealt with? Give us some cases, please, Mr. Gehi.
I dealt with a seafood company from India, and they wanted me to spoon feed them. They said our company doesn't mind spending the money, and they were very good people. And then what I did, I started communicating with them in India. And nowadays we can also communicate with them via Zoom and everything. Once if they're ready, and once if that happens, then we can start the process straight up. So there's no kind of hiccups anymore, and things are much easier than before. All they have to do is go to gehilaw.com or call us at 718-263-5999. And also, Turani, if you could repeat the number, we also have an office in Mumbai. They can come and see our staff in the Mumbai office if they want to. So at the end of the day, the good news is that the day you decide that you want to set up your operations in America, get in touch with us. We'll be happy to consider your needs out there. And as you know, besides L1A, L1B, we handle every type of immigration matter that concerns the United States of America, right from deportations. Someone has been deported. If you want to file an action in federal court in New York, we do that for you. You want to basically fight your deportation here, we do that for you. Any employment-based immigration visa, entertainer, performer, you want to come and dance in America, Dancing with the Stars, you be our star, we'll make you dance in America. That's the best way called dancing with the stars out here. Besides that, you're a performer. You want to come and perform. You're a fashion model. You have a gig in America. Come in. America is a land of opportunity. If you're that brilliant, outstanding professor, if you're that genius who has invented and who has a PhD, you may be entitled to a direct green card, even without a sponsor. You're a Booker's Prize winner. You're that well-known actor who's watching this. You may not even need a sponsor. You may be able to self-sponsor yourself for a green card in America.
Right. That's great, Mr. Gehi. But could you probably reiterate any of your most tough cases around this area when you were trying to help your client set up a branch in the US? What was the toughest hurdle or the toughest challenge you and your team had to face, and how did you handle it?
We had a
How
company.
are you a cut above the rest?
All right. So we had a company wherein the person went to another law firm and he got a huge RFE. Then he said that I want to change my lawyer.
I'm sorry to cut you in between, Mr. Gehi. We have a caller. Would you want to take the caller first, please?
Certainly.
That's right. Hi, welcome to the show. Can you tell us your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, my name is Rama and I'm calling from Florida, Miami. My question is, which kind of company is easier to set up in the US? And should it be an LLP or solo proprietorship or anything else? I need guidance on the same.
It's not the company that really matters. It's exactly the business acumen that you have. And secondly, because those advantages are only for kind of basically legal purposes, but from an immigration standpoint, it really doesn't matter. I tell people always go for a general corporation. And as far as you can, kind of grow the company, nothing like it.
Right. Thank you for calling us, Rama.
A regular company is good enough for you. A general
Okay, thank you.
You don't have to go, only if you're a professional, you have to go for a PC. That's the law. But there's no need for someone to go for an LLC and everything. If you don't want to create it as an LLC. But to make a long story short,
if we want to do any online business with Amazon or something like that, then what do you suggest?
Go for a general corporation. And that's my, you can definitely check with your local lawyer, because I'm not an attorney, because this is not, I cannot give specific legal advice, but a general corporation is very much okay.
Right. Thank you for calling, Rama. I hope that helped you. And if you need any further legal advice, you can contact Mr. Gehi directly. Their numbers are already displayed. And just in case you're talking about the Mumbai office, then the number is 8976772900 and 8976772901 as well. So, Mr. Gehi, you were giving us examples about
so
what
let
your
me
toughest
finish
challenge
this a little
was.
more. Let's help out this wonderful lady who was on the show. What she needs to do, she needs to get in touch with the accountant first. And he should be the best person to figure out, the structure of the company based upon her needs and everything. So she should find a CPA in America. And once you find a CPA, they should be able to kind of assess her needs. So the best person to talk to in this case would be a chartered professional accountant.
Right. So, Mr. Gehi, then continuing our topic.
All right. So you're talking about some cases which I've handled out here.
Right.
A case wherein this was a very small company and they applied for the green card, after they did the L1A, and they got a huge RFE because they said that we don't believe the fact that you are engaging yourself in a managerial capacity. And finally, the person was very nervous. And we went through the entire 9 yards, the complete background of the company, the info and everything. And what we did is that we realized that this person has a lot more to offer. So during that particular period, we asked him, is it possible for you to hire more employees? And the person did. And we said that he was waiting for this peak season. And this peak season came about. And he hired 8 or 9 people during that time. We were able to show that he had more people working for the company. That was number one. And secondly, we said this company has a huge kind of income. And the officer was satisfied. And I-140 was approved and the person got a green card. Prior results do not guarantee future outcome, but we've done cases wherein, people have shifted, their law firm and they come to us. In H-1Bs, we get that all the time. A lot of IT companies come to us. And especially when they want to fight those cases, they're looking at, situations wherein we want to kind of find out of the box solutions. That's what we do at Gehi and Associates.
Right, right. So, Mr. Gehi, is all of this going to be a complicated procedure? I mean, that is also kind of a frequently asked question for us.
Yes.
What do the documents and the process? Is it going to be tedious? Do you have to keep running around the offices, or what can they do?
Number one is that exactly it's important for you to go with the right law firm. And we never force people that they should choose us. They should always do their due diligence before they hire a law firm. Look at the experience of the lawyer. Look at the experience of the team. For example, right now, I will be speaking at the American Immigration Lawyers Association soon. And 3 or 4 days ago, I was speaking at the Bar Association with the New York Supreme Court judge on certain issues. So the qualifications of the lawyer matter a lot. That is critically important. And secondly, the experience matters because, experience makes a man perfect. It's very well said. So it also applies to a woman because the world has changed. Experience makes everyone perfect. So it's the experience that matters. And that's the only way you can avoid this maze of complexity that you're talking about, that the paperwork is not okay, this is falling through the cracks. The maze of complexities can be avoided, and a streamlined document procedure can be easily established when you have experience under your belt. And if the client has a good accountant working for them, or if they have a good chartered accountant working in India, the entire experience can be smoothly navigated. So that's the key to success in any case, including an employment-based immigration case, L1A, L1B, H1, H4s. That's what you do. EB1As from India, helping actors. And recently, an actor got in touch with us too. This is on a different note. And he said, how difficult is it for me to get a green card? I said, you have all the qualifications. Let us know when you want to do it. You don't have to be a top-notch actor. If you've been a top-notch singer, you're good to go. So there's no harm asking questions, but make sure before you reach us out, you should be someone solid. But if you're going to tell me, I just sang one song over here, it's not going to work. You're wasting your time, your money, and effort for that. And that's why we have the Mumbai office. And a lot of people from the South reach out to our Mumbai office to check with them. A lot of people email us and, would you be kind enough to let them know about our Mumbai office, which is right next to the consulate in BKC in Bandra.
So, Mr. Gehi, you were telling us about how to set up branches and the RFPs and the complicated cases that you've handled.
Yes. So, number one is that the name of our firm is Gehi and Associates. We are based in New York, and we are in the metropolitan New York area. That means we have 3 offices in Queens, and you can reach us at 718-263-5999. And the firm offers a free initial personal consultation. And you can email us at info@gehilaw.com. And we handle immigration cases from all over the United States and the world. And we also have a branch office in India. And I think Torni has mentioned about that. So let's get back to some critical questions out over here. So complicated cases happen when sometimes you come in on an L1A. Once you come in on an L1A, then after that, your company tells you that we don't want to continue with the branch office over here. Or you come in as an L1A with an existing company that already has an office. Now they have these contracts with you that they make you sign a bond in India and everything, and you want to move. We've consulted with people who are here on an L1A or an L1B, and they want to move to another company. Those cases are complicated, but we do handle those cases too. Once we get retained, we try to find a way to see whether that bond that you have signed is valid with that company. That's a very, very critical thing that some of these companies are doing in India. And sometimes these bonds are not even recognized in the United States, or even under Indian laws, they may be subject to dispute in the court of law. So be careful, and especially if you're working for these big conglomerates in India, and if you're coming to the US, read those provisions very carefully. Because sooner or later that may, it's going to just bite you on your back. So be a little careful about it. Now, besides that, as far as the L1A and L1B is concerned, and also basically, the L2 visa is concerned for the spouse. The spouse can get a work permit in America under the L2 visa category. Now, through that L2 spouse also, you can basically find a sponsor and get a green card through that too. But that may take longer because she may need a labor certification. But the beauty of the L1A is that you do not need a labor certification and you can directly apply for the green card by skipping the entire labor certification process. So look at the value that the L1 visa brings to you. And some complicated cases that happen in the L1A area is that basically the person doesn't have the skills of a manager. He has not worked for your company in the past 3 years, in the past 1 year, 3 years, he hasn't worked for you. That's an issue that comes up. And another thing is that whether this person is really capable of handling the company, whether he's capable of supervising employees under them, whether this is a bona fide corporation, that's another issue. Whether this company needs a warehouse and they don't have warehousing facilities, these are some of the questions that come up on a regular basis. And it needs an experienced lawyer to handle these issues so that exactly you can smoothly navigate the L1A or the L1B process. L1B again is for people with specialized knowledge, and L1A is for people who come in as managers, and that's something we deal with on a regular basis for corporations from India in particular. Yeah.
Right. So, Mr. Gehi, could you probably elaborate a little on what the procedure is, or probably highlight the main points that everybody has to be cautious about?
All right, main points. Make sure that you have a very good lawyer. Make sure you have the right documentation. Make sure that your company has been in existence and business for a long time. Make sure that your company makes money. Don't say that at 5 or 10 lakh rupees and I want to come to America. Don't even call us. Make sure that you're a brand. Make sure that you're a recognized brand. Those factors make a difference. We deal with a lot of brands from all over the world. We prefer that we work with brands. But if you're a brand new company, if you have 4 people working, 5 people working, and your gross income is not very high, your net is not reasonable, if you're showing the company in a loss, sometimes I get those questions from India. Do you know I don't like to show all my income on the books? Don't come to us, folks. We won't service you. We service companies that are established and they show things on the book and who basically want to make it big. And there are these dynamic entrepreneurs in India, IT gurus, they're in the late 30s, at the end of 40s. They say, it's time for me to come to the United States of America. They made it big. Those are the people we work with. We work with high-ups in company and their managers come in. And by the way, there's a saying in America that you pay for what you get. If you're looking at the cheapest law firm on the block, don't come to us, folks, because we will not even take your case. We fight fire. We fight cases wherein people think that, yes, we want to try our best to get the result. That's what we do at Gehi and Associates. If you're looking at a $500 or $350 H-1B, we are not the law firm for you folks. We mean it with a lot of respect, but when we work for you, we want to give the right quality. That is critically important for us.
Right. That's great, Mr. Gehi. So, apart from that, I was really trying to, understand that what are the common ways that probably the USCIS or the officers could probably intimidate or,
That happens. Yes, that's a great question. That happens when you go for the interview. And see, what happens when you pay $350 to a lawyer is that they don't prepare you for the consular interview. Because it's not the law's fault. There's a saying in the world, you pay for what you get. And what happens is that when you go for that interview, there are many law firms, they do not even look at the document that the client is taking to the interview. We don't have this policy. That's why we service mid-sized and big corporations. We look at everything under the microscope because the consular officer is going to look at flaws in the application. He's going to look at the potatoes. You definitely have the meat, but he's going to find the potatoes. Let him not find the potatoes in the application. Make sure that the wheat is so good that there's no chaff in the wheat. So when your wheat is really good without the chaff, you have a slam dunk. a slam dunk means you have a good case. But if you have too much chaff, what do you call that, kachra, in the case, of course, the officer is going to say, here you go, good luck, stay at home. 999 Behiman, will be Mera Bharat Mahan. A client of mine had told me that. I use that expression. So please don't make that happen if your dream is to come to the United States of America.
Right. So, Mr. Gehi, then, like I asked you that, how can a person be prepared for situations where the USCIS or the officers might take an advantage of or exploit the situation to intimidate them? What should one do? Should they call their lawyer, or are there separate statements that they can use? Could you guide us in this?
I've had people calling me from different law firms, and we take over those cases. If you are in a situation, if you're an IT company in the US or in India, or secondly, if you are an actor whose papers have been filed, or if you're an EB1, or if you're someone who's into the L1A, L1B, if you're on an H1, if you're stuck in India, if you're on an H4, if you're stuck in India, if you have been, if the consulate has charged you with fraud under 212I of the INA, or if you have been deported to India, you can get in touch with the India office. It's in Bandra, right next to the consular office over there. Or you can reach us in the US at gehilaw.com for the US office, and we'll be happy to service you.
Right. Right. So, Mr. Gehi, any other complicated cases or challenges that you've dealt with that might be
deportations? People who lose their status in America. If you're an H1, you don't have any light at the end of the tunnel, you can contact us. That's number one. Secondly, if you get into deportation, we'll be happy to fight your deportation. We'll defend you in your deportation. If you came to the United States and if you're sent back from the airport because you have this 5-year bar, we can assist you with that too. Because under section 212D5 of the INA and under the leading case of the matter of Ranka, HRANK, Ranka, if you can show that there'll be reasonable hardship and there were things beyond your control, immigration has the right to grant you a waiver, even if you have a fraud issue in your application. You need to look at section 212D5 of the INA that permits you to come to America, even if you have had a fraud on your application and if you're stuck in India. Those are really complicated cases. That's what we handle at Gehi and Associates. And our website is www.gehilaw.com. We handle immigration cases from all over the United States and the world. Doesn't matter where you live. Get in touch with us and we'll be happy to review your immigration matter.
Right. So, Mr. Gehi, with that, we come towards the end of the show. But before you leave and we end the episode for today, is there a golden immigration message that you'd like to give our audience? Maybe in relation to the topic as well.
Yes. Number one is that the advice given in this particular channel is general in nature and does not apply to any specific facts or circumstances unless and until an attorney-client agreement is entered into between the parties. And besides that, neither the channel nor the host of the channel, Attorney Gehi, is responsible for any content on the site that you may use to your personal advantage and you may get into troubled waters. So please make sure that you actually enter into an agreement with the lawyer before you rely on the advice given by the channel or by the attorney in this case. That's number one. Secondly, if you're an actor, if you're a performer, or if your visa has been denied in India, if you're over here, if you're an IT company, or if you want to apply for an O1 visa as a person of extraordinary ability, if you want to apply for a direct green card under the EB1 category, or if you've gotten a complicated RFE, or if you want to sponsor your relatives, including your parents, your family members, if there's any kind of visa, including fiancé visas, or marriage-based green cards, Gehi and Associates would be happy to assist you. Our number is 718-263-5999, and the firm offers a free initial personal consultation. And you may reach us at info@gehilaw.com, and we are open 7 days a week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gehi. It's a privilege hosting you. The amount of information and
Pleasure.
contribution you make for the immigrants is just
And
beyond
prior
belief.
results, thank you. And prior results do not guarantee future outcome. This is an attorney advertisement.
Right. Thank you, sir. Here, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the show, and we have with us Mr. Gehi on Green Card with Gehi, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, Mr.
Don't
Gehi.
forget, next Saturday, same time, same place, with Tony only. Keep your sets on and spread the word, spread the message, and I want to see a lot more questions from each one of you.
Understood, Mr. Gehi. Thank you so much. You're watching Sakshi Live. This is Thorni. Thank you.